Hello and welcome to another edition of eLumen. What am I doing? In this episode, we are going to teach department chairs, otherwise known as department coordinators, how to plan your assessments to courses and sections. And so we'll start off this video within the assessment library for the music department. So before you begin, please make sure that you have the department coordinator role identified here and that you have the appropriate department listed here so that you can access all of the assessments that you've already built for that particular department. So I'm working in the test site. Anything I do here is not going to impact the production sites. And so in the music department, I have 3 assessments that I have already built. The test assessment here is the collective assessment I built in a previous video. And the test assessment student level assessment is the example assessments I built, again, in a previous video for student level assessments. And then this third assessment is built on a cloned version, which is a copied version of an assessment, and I tailored that version for a different course rather than for Music 101. I've adjusted it for Music 104. And so now that I'm in my assessment library and I have all of my assessments built, I'm going to start planning my assessments. That means assigning these assessments to courses and sections of those courses in the identified terms that I want to collect data for these assessments. Okay, so I'm going to select the checkbox next to the one that I want to plan out. I'm going to plan the collective assessment for Music 101. If I check the box there, I get a number of options up here. The one that I want to select is the plan option. And that will take me to the Music 101 Music Appreciation screen. And now I can begin planning the assessment, labeled Test Assessment, to any of these sections related to Music 101. So why was Music 101 pre-populated here? It's because in this assessment, I have linked the SLOs from Music 101, and the eLumen understands that and only gives me the options for Music 101. So right now, I'm looking at all of the courses and sections that have an assessment planned. So what I want to do is I want to see all of the sections that don't have anything planned to it yet. So I'll select Without Plan. And I also want to expand beyond a single term. I want to plan to a previous term. So for this, I'm just going to use fall as the example terms. I'm going to select fall 19, keep fall 2020 selected. I'm going to look for fall 2021 and fall 2022. And now when I select refresh, you're going to get a separate column for each one of the identified terms. And you're going to see all of the sections from those respective terms that belong to Music 101 for fall 2019, fall 2020. And because the schedules have not been built out or imported into the eLumen system for fall 2021 or fall 2022, we're not going to see any sections here. And I'll show you how to plan this assessment to sections of Music 101 or any course for future terms in just a moment. So now we get into the details of planning the assessment. You are going to click, drag, and drop your assessment. You can either drop it to this box here, which means you're assigning this assessment to every section for every identified term of Music 101. If I drop it here, it's only going to plan this assessment for every section of Fall 2019, or here I would be planning it for Fall 2020. And if I only wanted this assessment to go out to specific sections, I could drag and drop it to any one of these, and only the sections that I do that for will the assessment be planned. So I'm going to plan this assessment for every single section of Music 101 in this table for Fall 2019, Fall 20, Fall 21, and Fall 22. So I'm going to get this confirmation pop-up window, basically detailing what I just stated out loud. This is going to all sections of Music 101 for the identified terms. And this checkbox here is really important to make sure that you have checked. So this will add this assessment to any new sections added to the included terms, to Fall 19, Fall 2020, 21, and 22. By leaving this selected, if we have late start classes in Fall 2020 that then get imported, this assessment will automatically be assigned to those sections. And any sections built out for Fall 21 and Fall 22, this assessment will be planned to all of those sections of Music 101 moving forward. And so this makes it easier to build and plan your assessments, and then you don't have to worry about what's going on in the future. If you've built things out appropriately, you'll just need to revisit and ensure that the assessments have in fact been assigned or planned in a given term. So I'm going to select Next. And so right now, if I want to set up my notifications, I can do so. But please keep in mind, this will send out an individual notification for every one of these sections to the faculty of record if you choose to include your division coordinator, your department coordinator, which in many instances will be you, and course coordinators. That means that for every section there will be 4 emails going out. And so for a class that maybe has 10 sections, now that's 40 emails that are going out. So please keep that in mind. How do you set this up? You input your notification message. Dear Music 101 faculty teaching in Fall 2020, please complete the assessment and input your data by, and you can give them a due date in the message if you like. Check these. And so when do you want that notification to go out? You can say, well, how many days after the beginning of the term? Well, I want this to go out the very first day of the semester. Well, then you could enter 0 here. Or maybe you want to wait 2 weeks before this notification goes out. Then you would input 14 days after the beginning of the term. This notification will go out. And so alert messages are sent out to those that haven't completed the assessment yet, meaning they haven't input their assessment results. And so you can indicate the due dates. So if it's due on the last day of the term, you would enter 0 here. And so if you want the due date to be a week prior to the end of the semester, it would be 7. I'm going to leave it at 0. For those of you wondering, how do we make a due date after the end of the term? You cannot. We've tried putting a negative value in here, which would indicate how many days after the end of the term, but that does not work, unfortunately. And so when do you want this alert message to go out? Maybe 3 weeks before the end of the term. We want to remind folks to please complete their assessment and enter in the data, in which case for 3 weeks you'd enter 21 days before the due date, which is at the end of the term. in order to be able to confirm and move forward, I have to have information in each of these boxes. I'm not going to enter that in because I'm not going to save this, because even though we're in the test site, the notifications still work, and we figured that out the hard way when we were doing training last fall. So I am going to uncheck send notifications and alerts, and I'm going to set up notifications differently using this notification option up here. So I just want to confirm that this assessment is assigned to all sections of Music 101 for these 4 fall semesters. Click confirm. And now, if I select with plan and refresh, you'll see that everything slightly changed for all of these sections. We can see now that when I hover over this orange box, let me choose this one because the other one is outside of the recorded screen. I select or hover over this, you can see I've deployed the test assessment. If I did this in error, I could come in and delete or remove the planned assessment, or I could come in and edit the notification if necessary. If I remove it, that means that the assessment will not be seen by this faculty member when they log into their eLumen account. And also, you'll see these little circles with the box inside for future terms. If I decide, okay, I only want to do this assessment up through fall 2021, and in fall 2022 we may do something different, I can come up here and say to stop this assessment. And when I do that, it's now removed that assessment from all sections in fall 2022. Just to confirm, if I select refresh, it says no future plans for fall 2022, and that's okay. So you've now just planned all of your SLO assessments for a particular course for a future term, or a past term, the current term, and the future term. In another video, I will show how to enter into the system as a department chair and enter in data for a previous term, which seems fairly intuitive if you are the instructor of record. But as department chairs, you may be entering in data even though you are not the instructor of record for a particular section. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me at volker_aaron@sccollege.edu. Before we end this video, also one thing worth noting is once you've completed this planning process, you can then go up and select the Assessments tab, which will take you back to your assessment library. And now, for this assessment, which we've just planned, you can see which terms this assessment has been planned for. This is why we recommend that you build out all of your assessments first before you begin planning the assessments that you've built. Because every time you plan an assessment and come back to the assessment library, you can get a sense of when you have your assessments occurring. And if you have multiple assessments, and if you want to spread things out a little bit, you can get all of that information in one table within